Welcome children in this video where we are studying the chapter that is values and data types. So children, this is for class 9th and 10th computer applications. We already have started this chapter and the last topic we did was tokens, and in tokens we studied about literals or the constant values. So children, today we are going to discuss the literals or the data types of Java in detail. Basically, literal means the constant value. A constant value is that value which do not change during the execution of the program. So children, when we are talking about this literals or data types in Java, children, in Java the data types are very rich. That means you have many types of data which are available, and these data, different data are holding different spaces in the memory of the computer. So children, before we move on to data, we must know about the memory units. You might be studying them at various points. So first thing I want to tell you is regarding the memory units. Since children, computer is working on binary digits, that is either 0 or 1. These binary digits have been given a short name as bits. That is, B is for binary and IT is the last two character of digits. So children, here is the memory unit, and bits represents either 0 or 1 and it is denoted by small b, and with the combination of bits you get the higher memory locations or higher memory values. So children, when you join 8 bits together, it forms one byte. You might have heard of this term byte. So byte is a collection of 8 bits and it is represented by capital B. And when we talk about the higher units of bytes, that is, if you combine 1000 to 24 bytes, they make up 1 kilobyte. And 1024 kilobytes are represented by capital KB. They represents 1 megabyte or 1 MB. And 1024 MB or 1024 MB, it represents 1 gigabyte or GB. And 1024 GB represents 1 terabyte. Since children, we are up to this unit only. So these are the memory units where we use different memory units to store data, and we want to study this here because when we are talking about the data types in Java, every data type in Java is holding a specific space. Now children, when we talk about data types in Java, these data types I am referring to as literals or constant. Now children, Java is very rich in data type. So what is there is that the data type of Java is divided into two parts or two types, that is a primitive data type and a reference data type. Now children, when we talk about primitive and reference data type, we say that primitive data type is the data type which is there in the Java language. We don't have any data type called the reference data type. We have only the primitive data type available to us in the Java language, and with this primitive data type, children, the user makes the reference data type. And when we talk about these two data types, we say that the reference data type is made by the user with the help of the primitive data type. Now children, there are some other names given to these primitive and reference data type. We must know these names also. So the primitive data type is also called as basic data type. It is also called as intrinsic data type. It is also called as built-in data type, fundamental data type, and it is also called as non-reference data type. Whereas the reference data type is also called as derived data type, extrinsic data type, user-defined data type, composite data type, non-primitive data type. And children, under the primitive data type, when we make this reference data type from the primitive data type, the examples of reference data type are objects or classes, because through classes we make the object. So class or the object, which is a string data, we call it that it is an example of reference data type. Arrays is another sort of data in computers, that is also a reference data type. And interfaces, they are also the reference data type, and this reference data type is made by the combination of different characters. So character is a primitive data type. Now children, when we are talking about this reference data type, before we study this, we must know the different primitive data type. Now Java supports 8 different types of primitive data types. They are, first of all, we have integer data types. Under the integer data type, we have 4 data types. They are byte, short, int and long. Now children, we want to know what is the basic difference between these 4 data types, and the basic difference between them is in their memory size. So when we define any data in a computer, it stores some memory in the computer. So children, as you all know that if you require a small memory or a small size memory in the computer, there is no use to allocate or to reserve a very big memory. Say for instance, if you go to a hotel and if you are going alone, you hire a room in the hotel only for one person. And if you go as a couple, you hire a double bedroom. And when you go in a bulk, then you hire a place which is greater than that. In the same way, children, when we require a very small data, we don't want to reserve memory which is very big. And in the same way, if we want a big data to be stored, we cannot reserve a space which is very small. Then also it will create an error. So for integer data type, integer means children a data without a fractional part. That is integer data type, which already we have studied in literal. So integer data type first is byte. It is written in small letter. So this byte, if you want to define a data of type byte, I'll tell you how to define these data. Then it only occupies 1 byte of memory size in the memory of computer, that is in RAM. And the data which it can hold is from -128 to +127. So children, this data is can be used for many data, to store many data such like age of a person, for storing the marks which are from 0 to 100. This data type is sufficient and it is only going to hold 1 byte of memory in the memory storage that is in the RAM. Then children, if your data is a little bigger, then you can assign your data as of data type short. Short stores 2 bytes of memory, and it can hold a memory, or it can hold an integer number from -32,768 to 32,767. So if you want to hold a range of value between this range, you can reserve your data of type short. Then the next value is, children, is of integer data type. Integer data type holds 4 bytes of data. You can also calculate that 4 bytes of data means 4 into 8, that is 32 bits. Or 1 byte of data means 8 bits. You can calculate it in that way also. So if you have a data type of integer, then it can hold a value of -2 raised to the power of 31 to 2 raised to the power of 31 minus 1. Now children, if you want to actually find out what this value is, I have written it over here. It is from -2147483,648 to 2147483,647. So it is quite a big value which you can use to store many different data types. And children, if you still want a bigger value than this, then we have a data type called long. This long data type is going to occupy 8 bytes of memory in the memory of computer, and it is going to hold a memory, or it is going to hold an integer number from -2 raised to the power of 63 to 2 raised to the power of 63 minus 1. And this is a very big figure, and if you want to see here, I have written this figure. It is from -9223372036854775 to 922337268854775807. Now children, this is a very big memory, and you can do almost all the tasks of your type with this memory type. And children, if you want to do a calculation or any number, numeric evaluation which is bigger than that, then you can not do in the integer data type. Now children, these are 4 primitive data types. I have told you that we have 8 primitive data types. Now the 5th and the 6th data type are of floating data type. Floating data type means a number which is having a decimal part and a fractional part. So children, this floating data type is also of 2 types. One is the float data type. Now float data type holds 4 bytes of data in the memory, and its range is from minus 3.4 into 10 raised to the power of 38, which we can also write as 3.4 into 10 raised to the power of minus 38 to 3.4 into 10 raised to the power of 38. And children, in terms of decimal places, it can give you an answer up to 6 places of decimal. So this we have done on computer. In your book might be 7 or 5 places of decimal is written, but actually it is 6 places of decimal. Now children, if you want, this is a very big value compared to long also. Now you will say how it can be. It is 8 bytes and here it is 4 bytes, because children, we have studied that the floating data can be represented in the exponent form. That is why it can hold a very big value compared to long. So float is a bigger value than long. Then children, if you want still a bigger value in the floating data point, then you have the next data type, that is the double, and it is occupying 8 bytes of memory, and its range is from 1.7 into 10 raised to the power of 308, 10 raised to, it is a very big value, from minus to plus, 1.7 into 10 raised to the power of 308. And in terms of decimal points, it gives you an answer up to 16 places of decimal. So children, it is a very big value, and this is the range of values in numeric where you can do your calculation. Children, the next value or the next data type, that is the 7th data type, is the Boolean data type. This literal also you have studied, and this Boolean data type occupies 1 byte of memory, but out of 1 byte, that is out of 8 bits only, it occupies 1 bit. But at least 1 byte is to be reserved for it, because it holds a value either 0 or 1. 0 represents false and 1 represents true. So children, Boolean data type is the smallest value which is holding 1 byte of memory, and out of 1 byte also it is only using 1 bit. This we should know, and it holds a value either 0 or 1. 0 means false and 1 means true. Then the last primitive data type is the char data type. Char data type means the character data type. So we write it as char, written in small letter. And children, this occupies 2 bytes of memory, and it can hold about 65,536 different characters in hexadecimal number system. So its code starts from 0 to 65,535. And children, this data is written in single quotes, as we have discussed before. Any single character enclosed in a single quote will come under the character data type. It can be an alphabet, it can be a digit, it can be even a single character. So children, these are the different data types in computer which we are studying, and they are of 2 types, primitive data type and reference data type. Primitive data type is the built-in data, it is available in computer, and in order to make the reference data type, we make our own reference data type through the primitive data type. It is basically through the character literals or the character data type which we make the reference data type, and this is very important. Now children, when we have these different data types in computer, there is definitely a benefit that a memory reserve is according to the size of the data we require. But there comes a problem of type conversion. Say for example, if we want to add an integer data and a floating literal, then the computer does not evaluate those. So if you have differences in data, then evaluation process do not take place. So there is an error over there. So this is sorted out in Java by type conversion. So the next topic we are doing is the type conversion, which is related to the conversion of one data type into another. So children, I hope you have followed this data types in Java. It is very important. You have to memorize that type, the size or the amount of bytes this occupy in the memory, and you also have to learn the ranges of these data. So this is regarding the different data types in computer, children. Next, related to this is type conversion, which we are going to follow this video. Yes, thank you very much.